Hello, all. Welcome back to I Am Not Her podcast. I am Speed, and I am here with Kenny, my darling friend, who is also a fellow artist. He is my
Hello.
first guest of the season. How exciting! How exciting!
So excited to be here.
I'm so happy that you could come. Y'all, if you know me, baby, I'm terrible at scheduling. It's just not.
Girl.
Showing up on time is just not my thing. But yes, we are here. We made it. It was a struggle, but we all collectively got here, so it's fine, and we are rolling. So, this week has been a generally good week for me, and we'll get into the topic in a second, but I want Kenny to introduce himself and talk a little bit about him first.
Well, hello. My name is Kenny. I am a local artist. More descriptively, a photographer. I have been shooting photos for the past 4.5 years since attending the illustrious North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University.
Spicy.
Yeah, I've been taking pictures, and I also model on the side as well. I like to say a jack of all trades.
Love that. Love that. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me here.
Of
I am
course.
extremely excited and also honored. Thank you, Speed.
Of course.
Truly,
I'm
truly
glad that you're
sweetheart.
here.
Yes.
So, this week we will be talking about seasonal changes and how it affects the art because I felt like it was just like suiting. As you see, I got the hair changed for the fall, you know what I mean? So, had to get it together. So, why not talk about the seasons and how it affects us because a bitch be having a hard time with the transitions. Let me tell you something. Like this whole like 90 degrees to like 60 degrees thing, I don't handle that well. I personally just, as a person, let alone as an artist, it's too much. It's too much. But as an artist and just as a whole, I feel like the weather really does affect what we do. It's kind of crazy. Like even like outside of modeling or whatever, I'm thinking about like the music industry. You know what I mean? Like the summertime is when people are usually on tour the most. You know?
Yeah, I like to think weather, of course, I mean, it affects all facets of life.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, like, what do you wear on a rainy day?
Right.
You wear a coat versus, in warmer weather, you tend to, like, wear less layers, such as today it was hot as hell outside.
Right.
I got on this damn tank top, girl.
Okay.
But in regards to, weather, like you were saying, weather is just a big factor in everything we do. And
Definitely,
it
I
not only
agree.
affects like the physical realm, but just the mental as well, especially. And I feel like that's really what we're gonna get into today. And I'm really excited to do so, sweetie.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with you on it being an effect on like our overall existence. And I feel like people like downplay it a lot because in our society we're just like go, 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 go. And we're not really taught to take a breath and to like notice the change and notice how it's affecting us and notice what our bodies need different. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
like people you eat raw foods and vegetables and stuff during the summer, which makes sense, but like in the winter that's not what your body needs necessarily. You know what I mean? Like yes, you still need nutrients, but maybe in a different form. You
Yeah.
know?
And actually I was reading the other day this book on in the field of psychology. As a human, I mean, you have a billion bits of information and whatnot, like whether that be weather, like various like environmental factors just being thrown at you, and like you're just discerning like what to do or what's best to do at like all times. And I think that's kind of what you were saying, just more on a broad perspective.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, sweetie.
Yeah. On an artist perspective though, this change into the cold weather is definitely
It's really
it's a shift.
I will say for myself, it's definitely caused a shift in my business, particularly in my photography. I've noticed a transition from like outside to like indoor stuff. I've recently invested in another backdrop stand to try to get that rolling again
Right.
for myself, which I've stated to yourself prior to doing this. But yes, sweetie,
Nice.
I definitely understand like how it affects everyone creatively, and that's just my realm. But I can't, attest to everyone. But I'm sure it really does cause a lot of changes.
I agree. Yeah, if y'all have experienced the seasonal change and notice any personal changes, leave a comment down below. Let's talk about it. Let's have an open discussion because why not? Yeah, for me, it definitely changes, like, obviously the theme of the photo shoot. And then, of course, it taps into the fashion of the photo shoot. And it also changes the frequency of how often people want to shoot. I feel like for me, it's less than it is during the summer, because scheduling and things like that. People usually have more time, free time during the summer. But I mean, I love fall fashion. I love layers. I love, jackets and knee-high boots and all of the things.
I will say, as a little fashionista myself,
Yeah.
as I like to call myself sometimes, fall is really, as well as like the winter months, is really where I get into my clothing bag. I feel more of an incentive to like put on that coat that I can't wear in the summer, or otherwise I would sweat
Literally
the fuck
die.
out. Like,
Die out here in this heat.
But yeah, fall hoodies, the jackets, the pants, hell, you can wear the boots, girl, you can do everything. In comparison to summer, where I feel like it's taking everything off,
Right.
whatever, like, so you don't burn the fuck out.
I think.
What about the new generation that wears hoodies like in the summer?
Well, I was one of those kids. I'm not gonna lie. My mom would always call me out. On the fact that I like would have a hoodie on in like 80-degree weather. But as a kid, I don't know. Like, I think a lot of us were like, or maybe just myself, I was probably like I had this like self-conscious thing. It's like, I can wear a hoodie in the summer.
Right.
It was one of
Safe.
those things. It's like rebellious, but it didn't make sense
Yeah.
at all. Like, in retrospect, it's crazy.
Yeah, my observation of that is very interesting. I'm just like, listen, y'all are too active to be out here in fleece in 99-degree weather.
Yeah,
that's
that's
beyond
crazy.
that's beyond my comprehension. Because someone like me, I die. I pass out. I be heat stroke on the ground, passed out. It's not. I overheat so quick. It's a no for me. But I was gonna say, I also think that this weather change drastically not only affects the frequency of the shoots, but also the mood and the tone of the shoots and like what people are shooting. You know what I
will
mean?
say yes. Weather definitely affects the overall mood and tonality of a shoot. I feel like I would be more compelled to shoot something like utilizing rain if I knew that there was like a storm upcoming that I could like immerse myself as well as my model in, like, from a creative aspect. Of course, the same translates to like when you're doing stuff in like bright sunlight and all that stuff and whatnot. Yeah, it definitely affects that. It can either deprive one of their creativity or add to it. It's really up to you what you do with weather, because it's one of those uncontrollable things, on this planet. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. It's one of those things where it's like, it just depends on how you translate it, really. But I also feel like during the fall, people get more into portrait work and like more into moody kind of, that kind of stuff.
Definitely.
Which I think is interesting, like just thinking about it from that perspective, not in the perspective of like, oh, that's just what people are interested in, but more of just like, no, this is just kind of what the time calls for.
No, definitely. I think maybe it's a cultural thing, or like one of those like, I don't want to say the incorrect word. Excuse me. It's like, it's one of those subconscious things where we associate like the latter part of the year with like darker times, like winter and stuff like that, like preparation for like dark times, or previously like in like early history and stuff like that. Also, you got Halloween, stuff like that, which is another very big thing that is approaching, that people like to get in their bag to, and as well as orient their shoots around, as well as their content. So that's another thing
Holidays.
that definitely affects how people choose to play with their creative bag.
I agree. I agree. It is the holiday season. They just be back to back to back, and it does just change everybody's content.
It sure does. It
It's
sure
crazy.
does. Yes.
I feel like people are definitely more in their creative bag in the summer, and then more in their actual bag
Right.
during the fall and the winter.
Well, how do you think it's gonna affect you this season? Like the weather, how is it affecting you now, bro?
Um, Me personally, I don't think it's gonna have too much of an effect on
Mm-hmm.
me because I do a pretty equal amount of indoor and outdoor shooting, and then beyond that, I'm generally like as far as the creative stuff that I do, I'm usually in control of what I'm doing.
Okay,
So
cool.
I get
Great.
to like structure that, and I get to decide what I want to do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I do definitely want to start traveling more for my modeling. I for a while wanted to separate the two because I wanted like my vacation time to be vacation time
Mm-hmm.
and work time to be work time, and I didn't want them to commingle. But now I'm
Right.
like, I wouldn't mind it just for different sceneries and that kind of thing.
I definitely understand that. I definitely
Mm.
understand that. That was a fantastic testimony and how it'll affect you. I will say for myself, this year I'm definitely going to make an effort to combat what a lot of us refer to as seasonal depression.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying earlier that in the later part of the year, as the sun goes down earlier,
Right.
for myself, previously, I would kind of slow down my pace of work at like 5 or 6 o'clock as
Mm-hmm.
those darker hours approach and that sunsets. And I feel like I noticed over time it affected my overall productivity. I feel like I was getting too much out of it because I was being affected by that seasonal change and
Were
that.
you waking up any earlier during the day
Um,
or in the morning?
no, I pretty much wake up. I like to wake up before anytime before 9,
Okay.
whatnot. And within that time out of myself getting up, I do try to like get myself in a mode of like getting things done. However, I would say like in the later part of the year, I don't have the same energy or drive in the evenings as I do like in the summer, whatnot, where I feel like
Mm-hmm.
it's lighter outside. I feel like my body just
More energized.
naturally
Yeah,
it
it's true. It
wants
is.
to keep going. But that's something that I am like I said, I'm trying to fight, and I think I'm doing a pretty good effort of that thus far this year, and I've gotten a lot more achieved thus
I'll
far.
say what I'm learning in my new endeavors in life is a
Hmm.
lot about self care and that kind of
Right.
thing. But one of the things that we're learning is about how to function with the seasons and how to not fight the seasons. So it's like we as a society are like a grind, hustle, grind,
Yeah.
hustle, grind. Like you got to get it done. Otherwise,
You
you
know,
feel like you're not
doing
doing enough.
enough.
Yeah, like you're not contributing
Hmm.
enough. But it's like that's not really
No,
what
it's
we're
not.
here for.
The grind
Um,
mentality isn't
it's so
it's not a
toxic.
goal. Yeah,
It's so
it's
toxic.
toxic.
It's so toxic. But
Mhm.
yeah, so I would say definitely try to find that balance, but I wouldn't fight it too hard. You know what I mean? Like, because as you know, when the summer comes back around, stuff changes. You're
Right.
in a different mood. You know what I mean? So,
Mm.
and your body does, your body, your mind, all of it needs time to rest and recharge. So.
Right. One word that I've been using a lot lately, and I should have used this rather than saying the word fight. I've been actually surrendering myself to my craft
I love
rather
that.
than I think fight came off in the context of like me literally like fighting like my tiredness or like stuff like that, or being the feeling of being lethargic. But lately I've just allowed myself to take it as it comes and create freely. I do try to hold myself as being a professional. You being a professional, you have to have some sort of accountability and standard, and I think that's what I've been trying to exercise rather than literally like fighting like
Yeah.
sleep and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like trust me, girl. I'm gonna lay down. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah.
Okay.
No, I appreciate the tips though, sweetie. And like I love how much you create in your free time and whatnot, and I look at that and it's like wow, like shit, I'm trying to put out content like what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I look up to that.
Yeah, it's interesting balancing out life now that I'm
Mhm.
like changing and doing different things during the day. So it's definitely slowing down, but I'm still regularly creating. I definitely
Yeah.
am still like getting it in at least once a week, if not more than once a week,
As you
preferably.
should.
But yeah, well, this was great. Yeah, I think that the seasons definitely affect our art definitely affect everybody's art. I
They
think
did.
beyond our realm in music and the painting world and all of the world. So if you have an opinion on that, my audience, darlings, please let me know what your opinion is and how it has affected you. And again, I am sending out the offer to anybody that would like to be on my podcast. Please reach out to me and let me know. We can make it happen. Kenny, thank you so much for being my first guest.
Speed, thank you so much for having me, sweetheart. And literally, this was one of the best new experiences I've ever had.
Yay.
You're my first podcast.
I love that. That's so
Yay.
exciting.
Thank
Yay.
y'all. And please follow my girl, comment,
Yeah,
and do
like,
all of the
subscribe,
above.
do all the
Purr,
things,
all of
all
the great
the
things.
things.
Support
That part.
as you should.
That part. Repost, share, all of that. Thank you. Yeah, y'all tap in next week. Thank you for coming to I Am Not Her podcast, and we are out for the night.